Hi, my name is Christopher Horton, and today on my blog I'm going to be talking about my empathy and observational research. So for observational research, we were asked to research our problem, observe people with the problem that we're discussing. And my problem was the engagement in schools, and at first I was looking at how can we make schools more interesting. No one really likes going to school. Ever since we were kids, we haven't liked going to school. It's been a problem. And we always go through these times where we're just like, I do not like school. I don't know why I'm going here. And it's not interesting for kids. The classes aren't engaging enough, and it just gets to a point where we don't want to be there. So I observed kids doing schoolwork, and I observed kids in class, and I just noticed an overall sense of lack of engagement and lack of interest in the classes. It's not even the fact that the subject is that they're not interested in, because I know kids that were interested in certain subjects such as CSE 148. They're interested in the programming behind lists and SQL and Excel and stuff like that. But the classes aren't engaging enough. It's just too lecture based or too just homework, busy work, all that kind of stuff based. So I wanted to see what they felt during these times, and they were just always either sleeping in class or just not engaged, looking off in another direction. And it was just eye-opening to me, the fact of how many kids aren't interested in school and aren't interested in going to class every day. No one wants to go to class. I talk to kids and they're like, I don't want to go to class today. And some kids do end up skipping classes because they don't want to go to class. And I think this is a problem. And I started talking, when we went into the empathy research, we were supposed to have conversations with people. We had to engage with them and talk to them about what the problem is. And I talked to a few students. In my first conversation, it was with a kid named Isaac Rose. He's one of my friends. And he's a really hard worker in school. And a great student. He's a model student. And I just talked to him about his experience in school, ever since he was a kid. He said he's just always worked hard in school. It's never been a question for him, but he's always worked hard in school. And I said, what makes you work hard in school? He said, I just want to get the good grades. And I asked him, and I kept talking to him about, what emotions do you feel in this time? And he just kept on going on about how, he was always stressed about all the work he had. And he was annoyed about, if he got a certain grade on a test that he knew he studied for, and he knew he knew the subject, and he knew he studied for it, but he didn't get the grade he wanted. And I think a lot of kids experience this. I think a lot of kids experience this time where they work really hard in a class, or work really hard at anything, and then the output is just not what they were looking for. And I think that when kids have this problem, they kind of shut themselves out. They kind of give up in some scenarios. Now, Isaac, I talked to him, and I just kept asking him about school, and I'm like, do you think we can improve school? Because some kids might not think that we can improve school, and I know that some kids may feel this way, and I know some kids may be set in the ways that they are, but I asked him, do you think we can improve school? And he said a million times yes. He said, there are so many problems with it that if we just fix one small thing at a time, it'll work. But he said, I think it's such a large-scale problem, we need to make big leaps and bounds. And that's when I started thinking, I know our project, we were supposed to look at these small-scale problems or cheap, simple problems to solve, but I know this is a large-scale problem, and I've recognized that. But I think it's a big, large-scale solution, too. I think the output is going to be great, too. And as I continue these empathy maps, I had these conversations with other students. I had conversations with students that don't work hard in school, students that I know that skip class a lot. And I asked them, why do you skip class? And most of them would say, I'm tired, I don't want to go to class, they would say, it's boring, I don't want to go to class, it's no fun for me. It's not interesting enough for me. And this really hit me. I thought to myself, there are two major problems coming up in these answers, and it was a lot of kids are getting stressed and bored of school, and other kids just aren't engaged in school. And there's this big dichotomy of these things where we need to make sure kids learn the subject, but we want them to be engaged in the subject. Are they actually learning it? Is the real question we have to ask ourselves. So when I looked into these empathy conversations, I was really trying to just have genuine conversations with students. Just ask them, what can we improve? When I talked with kids, I asked them, what problems do you have with school? And some kids would just say, I have no motivation to do work. Others would say, I worry a lot about grades. And kids would say the workload is too heavy. They also talked about the subjectivity in classes, how some classes are just too subjective, that they don't think they're getting a good grade just because the teacher doesn't like them. Some say there's too much class. Like, science proves that we can only stay focused for about 15 minutes at a time, and then we have to like take a mental break just to get back, mentally lock in again. And some kids just think classes are too long. Some think that the instructions in classes aren't clear enough. Some don't like the grading. A lot of them just had this problem where they think classes needed to change in all ways, whether it was the grading, the curriculum, how it's taught, what they do in class. But it was just a constant problem of, we need to fix this, the way classes are done. And I thought in this empathy research, I thought I just gained a lot, and like I learned a lot, that I'm not the only one dealing with these problems. I think these problems are very widespread, and I think it gave me a good idea of what problems kids have in school and how I can formulate my solutions or focus off my problems to find this new solution that will help solve these small problems in this area or problems in this area. And I think it just kind of helped me scope it down. And it also just gave me a good idea of like how kids think in the everyday school life. Because I always wondered this. Like, I know there are a lot of different students. Like, there are students that do really well in school, that work really hard, or the students that don't really work hard but still do well in school because they're just naturally smart. I know students that maybe aren't naturally smart, but they work their butt off to get a good grade. And I know students who just don't try in school. And I just wondered, I wanted to pinpoint the thoughts and mindsets behind each of these different students, because we have such a wide variety of students. That's how the world is. Like, there's millions of people in the world. All of them grow up different ways. All of them have different mindsets when they come about different things, whether it's schoolwork, their opinion on a certain sports team, or anything like that. And I think this empathy research really just helped me understand the varying mindsets in school and kind of helped me look at these problems in a different way. And I thought it just really helped me develop my process in this way. That's my blog for the day. I talked about empathy research and how it really helped me scope my problem around different problems. It gave me a wider variety of answers, and I just hope to look forward to the next set. Thank you.